In this video, I'm discussing 12 things narcissists say to deflect responsibility and gain the upper hand. You don't want to miss this. Let's dive in. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tamie M. Joyce. I'm an empowerment life coach specializing in codependency and narcissistic abuse recovery for empaths, scapegoats, and awakening light leaders. If you're new to my channel, a very special welcome. Please take a second to say hello and introduce yourself in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos. So let's talk about 12 things narcissists say to deflect responsibility and gain the upper hand. Number 1. I know. Despite outward appearances, narcissists are deeply insecure, hypersensitive people with a bizarre need to be superior and above others in any way they can manage. They can also be rigid, controlling, and defensive. No matter what you say or what you might bring to the conversation, they always know or know better. They knew that already. They don't need you to inform or tell them because, they know it all and already know everything there is to know. It's exhausting just trying to have a regular conversation with this type of person. And if you aren't solid and boundaried, you can easily find yourself tippy-toeing around them because of their hypersensitivity and extreme defensiveness. Now, the important thing to remember here is it's not your stuff. Number 2. I had to lie to you. Narcissists will tell you that they simply had no choice but to lie to you because of how you would react if they told you the truth. Narcissists don't believe that you're entitled to all the information. No matter what kind of a relationship you're in with them, they prefer to keep you on a need-to-know basis because if you had all the information, if you had the whole truth, it would likely be over immediately. So instead, they lie by omission, they use truth out of context, manipulate the truth to suit their own needs and agenda, as well as lie outright to your face, and then have the nerve to blame you when you catch them lying. Now, of course, the issue isn't actually their lying, nor could it be the relationship crimes they're committing and attempting to cover up with their incessant and pathological lying. Rather, the issue, according to them, is of course you and how you would react to the truth. That's the real problem for them. Number 3, what are you talking about? When you're attempting to communicate with and express how you feel to a narcissist, the truth of your experience or the impact their attitudes and behavior are having on you and your emotional and psychological well-being, you'll often be met with, "What are you even talking about?" Which of course is nonsense. It implies that you're making no sense whatsoever. They don't even know where you're coming from, as well as the classic "you're crazy" narrative. And they do this with full intent to discredit and invalidate you, your feelings, the truth of your experience, as well as your perception of reality. In other words, I'm pretending to not understand what you're saying or where you're coming from so I can avoid being held accountable for the appalling way I behave and treat you in this relationship. Number 4, I can't believe how selfish you are. Now let's be real. All hurt feelings aside, this one is actually hilarious coming from the narcissist. If this isn't the epitome of the pot calling the kettle black, I don't know what is. You'll hear this in particular when you aren't easy to manipulate and aren't willing to capitulate to their expectations and demands, and therefore aren't cooperating with or enabling them in their toxic attitudes and behavior. The moment you set a limit or boundary, the moment you say no to their expectations, desires, or demands, you'll be called selfish. You're so selfish for taking care of yourself. You're so selfish for having reasonable and healthy limits and boundaries. You're so selfish for having a mind and a life of your own. You're so selfish when they cannot manipulate, dominate, or control you. How dare you love and respect yourself enough to say no or no thank you? Don't you know who the narcissist thinks they are? Number 5, you're so controlling. Listen, having reasonable expectations, standards, wants, needs, and preferences when you're in a relationship, any relationship, is perfectly acceptable, rational, and healthy. Don't let the narcissist project their own sick power dynamics and control issues onto you simply because you have standards in terms of what goes on in the sanctity of your own life. And whatever you do, don't let them manipulate you into lowering your standards so they can get away with their toxic and abusive nonsense. Not being open to all manner of drama, chaos, abuse, and insanity does not make you a control freak. It means you have standards. It makes you healthy. And narcissists don't like healthy, or standards for that matter. It's not their vibe. It cramps their style. Now comment below and tell me whether or not you've heard any of these classic statements from a narcissist. And if so, how did you respond? Let me know in the comments section below. And if you'd like to learn more about the possibility of working with me in my 8-week transformational coaching program, the Freedom Class, there is a link in the description below where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. Number 6, you're so difficult. Now this one's simple. When you don't let toxic people disrespect you, they'll call you stuck up, arrogant, and difficult, as if you're the one who's so hard to get along with. And here's the thing, you don't have to get any of that on you. Just brush it off like so and move on. Number 7, you're the abusive one. This is where they blame you for the reaction they've provoked in you. They'll poke, poke, poke until you go boom and then say, see, I told you so, you're the abusive one. And friends, this is where gray rock and no contact can serve you really, really well. Number 8, you're so high maintenance. Now what the narcissist is really saying with this one is, I feel entitled to continue to exploit you and siphon as much as I possibly can out of you and this relationship while giving as little in return as humanly possible. How dare you have wants, needs, preferences, desires, and standards of your own? Again, don't you know who the narcissist thinks they are? Number 9, no wonder nobody likes you. Other variations of this are, no wonder you don't have any friends, or no wonder everyone thinks you're nuts. To a narcissist, the key to keeping you in line is by systematically destroying any sense of self-worth and self-esteem that you might otherwise have. They also want you isolated because you're much easier to manipulate, dominate, and control if you're isolated from anyone who could otherwise serve as a support system and maybe even help you see just how toxic and abusive the narcissist really is. So they'll drop little bombs like this with full intent to make you feel like you have no one else to turn to and that clearly you're the problem. Now they know full well the more alienated and alone you feel and the more you second guess and doubt yourself, the less likely you are to leave them. They'll first deliberately manufacture, then prey on your insecurities and fear of abandonment, while simultaneously sending the very clear message that no one else will ever love or care for you the way they do. You know, because they're just so awesome. Number 10, you need help. When you hear this, consider it a good sign. It means you're right over the target and the only ammunition the narcissist has is to call your emotional and psychological health and wellness into question. They know you're onto them when they're throwing this one around. Just do this and let that shit hit the floor where it belongs. Number 11, you'd be nothing if it weren't for me. Now friends, you know you're dealing with a narcissist when you hear this one come flying out of their mouth. Only a person with a destructive narcissist personality pattern could insinuate that another human being would be nothing if it weren't for them, no matter how much they may or may not have actually done for the person. Reasonably, relatively healthy, well-adjusted, and sane people don't think this way. Never mind, come right out and say it in an attempt to deflect responsibility and gain the upper hand. But narcissists do. Number 12, they're lying. When their narrative doesn't match what others say, no matter what the circumstances or who the others may be, their lying is what you'll hear. They'll throw anyone under the bus to save their own ass and deflect responsibility, including their own children, sadly. Everyone else is a liar, except them, of course. My friends, I hope you got some value out of this today. If you liked what you heard, be sure to drop a like and a comment. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was. If you're new to my channel, a very special welcome. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos throughout the week. And once again, if you'd like to learn more about the possibility of working with me in my 8-week transformational coaching program, the Freedom Class, there is a link in the description below where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. And as always, I will leave you with this. Know your value. Know your value and unlock your freedom. Mwah. Much love. Bye for now.